Yeah, another one.
Today's video, I've installed yet another center console divider in the Cybertruck. This one has 4 different compartments, including 2 additional cup holders.
And it fits really snug.
I'll walk through the installation of it and I'll give you some pros and cons. Here we go.
Let's start with the unboxing. It came all very well packaged. All the individual pieces, which I think there were 10 of, were all individually packaged. And it came with the little screwdriver, which is the only tool you'll need. And it's going to go in this little space here where my fridge is.
Now that I have it all laid out, I see that there's 8 different parts, but it looks like there's 10 different steps. And it does look like you have to put them in the exact order or else it won't go into place, because you're kind of like building this in place in the truck. I don't think you can just assemble it out here and put it in, because it's so custom tight fit to that spot. So here we go, starting with steps 1 and 2. And then one thing I'm going to do before I start putting this into place is they all have these little silicone mats, but they all have like a backing to them. So it doesn't look to be adhesive. In fact, I think it's just like protective. So you can pull all these off. And then there's just that little bit grippy texture of the silicone. And it looks like all these pieces have one of these, just sits in the bottom. And once it's off, you can see it fits really good in there. It kind of grips to that texture of the plastic.
Steps 1 and 2 are just putting these 2 little pieces of plastic in place, one in the front, one in the back.
3 is the little cup holder piece.
And this clips right into place between the first and second piece.
All right, then we have steps 4 and 5, which are the side pieces. I'm going to set these into place, 4 on the passenger side, 5 here on the driver's side. And then actually step 7 is the screws that's going to fasten these into place, but we have 1 step in between. And it's a tad tricky at first, but then you realize it actually goes a little bit higher than what I was thinking. So this little part here is going to set on the metal frame of the seat. And you know it's right when this part here butts against the triangular part of the truck, just like so.
So as you can see, because it's such a tight fit, it is a little tricky to get into place, but once you get it done in there, it's fine. And here's the other side, which for some reason I tried to install from the passenger seat, but it still worked.
And as I showed you earlier, it does come with, of course, its own little bag of screws and your own little screwdriver. How do you like that?
And this little screwdriver is the only tool you need to put together this whole little piece. And as I mentioned earlier, this screwdriver is included. Now you do have to line it up a little bit. So sometimes it helps maybe with a flashlight, something like that, just to make sure you're putting the screw right into the place where it goes. But once you have it in right, it really kind of like sucks together. You can instantly tell when the screws are in. Now you don't want to use a drill because I think you might over tighten and potentially strip these, but it's really easy, as you can see what I'm doing here.
And number 6 is this little tray here. Now this was a little tricky to get in, and I had wondered a couple times if it was backwards or not, because when it sets into place, it actually sets kind of up like this. And if you notice up like this, you'll start to see the mat fly around, which again, make sure you take that clear part off the back.
Now again, you have to kind of finagle this one in a little bit, but it's not too bad. Then once you get that into place, you go ahead and put 2 more screws in, 2 in each side, I should say. And then again, it just really snugs into place. You really start to see it take shape.
And then what I believe is the 8th step, who knows who's keeping track, is putting in this last little guy here. Now this one also has a rubber, but this one is a little bit textured, as you can see there. So it'll be easier to like set a phone on, something like that. Kind of a cool little grip. It also has that same little silicone underneath, but this one did not have the little clear plastic on the bottom. Here we go, number 7 or 8.
So this one, I went to slide it right into place, and I had some trouble with this one. Now initially it was because, well, I was putting it backwards, so yep, flip it around. That works a little better, but then I found out I actually had to loosen a couple of those screws I put in earlier, and I slide it in from the top. Then you can see this whole thing kind of clips around it. So I would recommend, if you're doing this yourself, loosen some of those screws, get it into place from the top, and then you can always retighten those, which is what I'm doing here.
So according to those instructions, step 9 was those final screws, and step 10 is installation complete. So I guess by finishing step 9, you automatically finish step 10. So it's in. Let me tell you a little bit of the pros and cons. I'll start with maybe the cons first. Now, this first one's not going to affect everybody with the Cybertruck, and it's of no fault of the actual manufacturer himself. Is I have this little carbon fiber rail, and I have a little rubber pad here on my wireless charger. Well, because of just how tight this fits, I mean, it's a perfectly tight fit, really custom fit. It made it a little bit more difficult to get these all into place. In fact, when I did it from this side first, I didn't realize I had pulled my carbon fiber up over here. And this is real carbon fiber, which is good, or else I might have broken it because it was just really tight. Now, if you don't have the carbon fiber, nothing to worry about. If you do, obviously I made it work. You just have to fight with it a little bit more. Even with that, maybe a plus, it probably took me about 20 minutes to install this. And that included recording, pulling out of the box, unboxing, all that kind of stuff, and fighting with this. The installation itself was really simple. The instructions, 10 of them, but again, 10 means you're done. So really there's 9 of them, and some of those are duplicate from the same sides. It all kind of fits in really nice, and the instructions with the little pictures, they're all real nice too, so it makes it really simple. The next negative, which also could be spun as a positive, which I'll do both for you, is it's very lightweight, very almost like fragile. That being said, nothing snapped, nothing broke. I didn't feel at any point like I was potentially going to break anything, but it's very lightweight, very flimsy until you get it all screwed together. Once you have it all screwed together in place, it all interlocks, and this is, I mean, really solid. Like, I wouldn't feel at all like this could break if I hit it wrong, anything like that. It's really solid, but just pulling it out of the box, everything felt very thin and almost cheap, but all fastened together, it does really kind of click into place, and those screws really all suck it in tight. So you could look at that as a positive. It's probably cheaper to ship because it's very lightweight, and it was really easy to work with because in some of these spots are really tight. Because it's a thin plastic, it actually made it more flexible. So however you want to look at that, it's a pro, potentially a con, but it ultimately all works out and fastens well into place. Now for the positive. So I took out my refrigerator, my Cybertruck refrigerator that I also got from TesStudio to put this in. So in another video, I'll be comparing this one here, the little one that you see up here, the other little console that you see up here, as well as the fridge. So stick around, give me about 2 weeks, and we'll have that overall comp video of what's the best for you. I'll go through the pros and cons of all the 4 different center console little devices that I've had in my truck. But one of the downsides of that fridge was I lost all my extra little storage here. Then I get it all back now. I have 4 different compartments as you come down here with me that I can put stuff in. Obviously, I got this one down here below, which has a little rolling sliding door, and again has that little rubber mat, silicone mat down the bottom, so if you were to spill anything, get any junk, and get that back out. And then I wasn't counting the cup holders. Obviously you have those, but you still have this little storage up here. And then back up top, you got your little storage up here, probably about the size of a phone. And the last one, which really lets you potentially hide something or stash something where people aren't gonna look, is way back in here by the truck. You have this little storage compartment back here, which again is silicone lined, and it's got this little gripping here and the grip down the bottom. So if you were to put anything back in there, even like if you stash your key card,
It hides pretty well, but still makes it pretty easy to get to.
it's not gonna be somewhere people are gonna check. Not that people are getting into your car all the time, but potential, kind of a cool little upside. Then the little things up top, I just mentioned, these are almost the perfect size for a phone. While they won't actually charge your phone, they're not a wireless charger, I don't use the wireless charging pad. I always use the little retractable cords, which you haven't seen the video on this yet. I'll put that down the link below. I always use these chargers. I have a pretty big case on my phone. It's a construction type phone. Since that's the line of work I'm in, I don't like them to charge wirelessly. But sometimes I set it here and it accidentally links up. My phone gets crazy hot. So to me, it actually potentially works better to be able to set my phone right here. But ultimately, it could be splitting hairs. Cool little option. It doesn't have to be your phone. You can put anything there. The key card, the phone, the keys, anything else, it'll all work. And just to elaborate on those cup holders, something that's important to me is that they're a good solid size, because many of the cups and different thermoses that you'll see down below here that I put into the truck are very big. So here I have a full-size water bottle. I also have here my Milwaukee tumbler. That's that Yeti style. So even as big as this thing is, it still fits in that little holder really nice. So that's really important, because I think a lot of people that are driving these trucks, especially if you're like a tradesman, construction, something on that level, you need bigger cup holders. Come on. And that's pretty much it. But do make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give me about 2 or 3 weeks, and that multi-4-way different comparison of the different center console dividers, organizers I've gotten. I'll compare them all in another short video. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on that next one.